Howdy. Welcome to another episode of Dinosaur Parkour. The topic for this video is IMS, position equal M, the power of multiple positioning. I'm your host, Chris P. Fried. This slide shows code that can have an issue when the first call of the path get unique rather than a get unique for the root only. Remember earlier we discussed that multiple positions are reset or cleared when a get unique is just for the root is used. The get unique on this slide is doing a hierarchical read of both the root and a child segment. Since this is a hierarchical call, the call does not clear the position for other hierarchic legs. Get next within parent calls might get false GE status code if the same root is processed twice because the position is already on or past the segments that need to be read. This program is driven by an input file. Consider an input file that says to read the following root keys: 1, 5, 7, 23, 23, 31. That second occurrence of the record for 23 is likely to encounter false GE status code because the prior record has established multiple positions on the PCB. Let's review the position while processing the first record for root 23. The get unique call sets the parent on the root segment. It returns data where the root is equal to 23 and for segment A. It is a path call. The current position is shared for both R23 and A1. On the slide, I have it on A1. Parent is on route 23. When the program does the get next within parent for segment B, parent remains on route 23. The current position moves to segment B1. There is a non-current position on segment A1 and is no longer shared with the root. Only the current position can be shared up the hierarchic leg. The program reads the next input record, which is the record for the second occurrence of key 23. Remember, there are already positions on the PCB for root 23 because of the prior record. The get unique call puts the parent on route 23 and returns data for the root segment and segment A with a key of 1. The current position is on A1 and a non-current position is on B1. The get next within parent for segment B attempts to move to the second occurrence of segment B. There is not another occurrence. IMS returns the status code of GE and no data is returned. The current position is where the second B segment would have been had it existed. At this point, the program is potentially processing the data incorrectly. There is a segment B, but the program did not read it. There are two solutions. If the record is a duplicate, use sort to remove the duplicate record. Or in the case where the records are not actually duplicates and the program truly needs to process records for the same root multiple times, split the path call into two IMS calls. The path get unique becomes a root only get unique. So get unique root seg equal to the key from the file N2. And then we have two get next within parent calls, one for segment A and another one for segment B. The get unique reading only the root creates a position on the root, and that call clears all of the positions on the hierarchic leg, allowing the get next within parent calls that follow to work as expected for both records. I prefer for the first get call on a PCB to be root only gets. Path calls can cause positioning issues as was demonstrated on the prior two slides. I know that we just finished discussing an issue that can occur when using multiple positioning. However, I hope you explore multiple positioning. I personally think the pros outweigh the cons. I think IBM decided the same thing since multiple positioning is the only option for fast path databases. I find multiple positioning to be more intuitive, that the position does not have to be tracked as carefully. Segment can be accessed out of database order, which tends to allow the I/O logic to more closely follow the business logic. The one major issue I've seen is not resetting or clearing the position when processing a route multiple times back to back. I personally control this risk by avoiding path calls when using get unique or get next with parents. In other words, make the first call on a PCB using get unique or get net be route only. Thank you for listening. This has been another episode of Dinosaur Parkour. Faster, better mainframe programming.